We are at Liberty Hall, ladies and gentlemen, awaiting the arrival of Dr. Julius Garvey. Stay tuned to Big Stone Delta.
Equal right, sometime in life mess up, and no matter how hard them I fight, tell them say me nah give up. Yeah, tribulations we face in a life, me just a hold it and I go and live up. Hey, look what them do to Jesus Christ, mankind too dangerous. Hey. Fighting the struggles all angles, feels like a spiritual strangle. While me lost in Bermuda Triangle, like the wind and the candle. So rough, why life so tough? But me still a hold of faith and I praise me God, me not give up. Why life so rough, so rough, so rough? Why life so tough? Up the ladder me a climb, me want me broke my spine, me not give up. Hey, hear me now. Tell them say no stray from the flock now. Sufferation for stop now. Politicians for change up them act now. Full-time poor people start reap from the crop now. I no fear no foes or no pestilence. Father God demand me confidence. Jah as my witness, I'm his evidence. It was written from in his Old and New Testament rough. Yeah, why life so tough? Yeah, but me still a hold of faith and I praise me God, me not give up. Why life so rough? Why life so tough? Up the ladder me a climb, them on me broke my spine, me nah give up. Watch I know, when the going gets tough and the tough gets going, don't you ever give up. You got to keep on going. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, yeah. You gotta still make a step and keep the water below your neck. Ooh, la, 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 la. Life's so rough, yeah. So rough, so rough, yeah. Ooh, la, 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 la. Yeah. Shakur, Prendergast Entertainment, yeah. System for equal rights. So mess up, right, Sean? And no matter how hard them all a fight me, some must me not give up. Don't win so just la la, hey, la 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 la, hey. Shakur, Prendergast Entertainment. Hey. System for equal rights, sometime in life mess up, and no matter how hard them I fight, tell them say me nah give up. Yeah, tribulations we face in a life, me just a hold it and I go and live up. Hey, look what them do to Jesus Christ, mankind too dangerous. Hey. Fighting the struggles all angles, feels like a spiritual strangle. While me lost in Bermuda Triangle, like the wind and the candle. So rough, why life so tough? But me still a hold of faith and I praise me God, me not give up. Why life so rough, so rough, so rough? Why life so tough? Up the ladder me a climb, me want me broke my spine, me not give up. Hey, hear me now. Tell them say no stray from the flock now. Sufferation for stop now. Politicians for change up them act now. Full-time poor people start reap from the crop now. I no fear no foes or no pestilence. Father God demand me confidence. Jah as my witness, I'm his evidence. It was written from in his Old and New Testament rough. Yeah, why life so tough? Yeah, but me still a hold of faith and I praise me God, me not give up. Why life so rough? broke my spine and I give up. Watch out now. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, don't you ever give up. You got to keep on going. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, yeah, you gotta still make a step and keep the water below your neck.
Silence with thy mighty hand, keep us free from evil power. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defender, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever, Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all, stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us a weak to cherish, give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge send us, Heavenly Father, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever, Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love.
Please be seated. How is everyone this morning? I hope you're all doing well. As we acknowledge our visitors, we must acknowledge Major F.M. White, Chairman of the Julius Garvey Schools Foundation. We anticipate having Mr. Oliver Fagan, who is Chairman of the Board of Management of ACIJ and JMB. Mr. Leslie Harrow, good morning, sir, Executive Director at IOJ. And we do hope to be having a representative from the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport to bring a message from the Minister herself. And so, good morning, I'm Rosie Murray Tingling. I am the Programming and Production Manager of the Whirlwind Group. And it's a blessing to be standing here in this historical building. You know the legacy of the national hero Mosiah Garvey. This two-story building was the first meeting hall in Jamaica that was fully owned and operated by blacks. It was a house, the home of plays, and because of what I do, this would be of very big interest to me, of plays and concerts and dances and elocution pieces, adult and children's choir. And it's good to be here on this Thursday morning in the middle of Black History Month. Well, coming to the end of Black History Month. It's been quite a historical week too in the lives of many who we have encountered as we captured on film the joy and the warm embrace of children and adults alike who met Dr. Julius Garvey on his visit to participating schools in the MGIS program. You know what MGIS means? Does anyone, do you know?
Marcus Garvey in schools.
Okay, thank you so much, Big Stone. You would. I was hoping that I would have gotten that answer from one of our other members of the audience. Okay, and so it's my pleasure to guide you through this morning's proceedings as we anticipate the musings of Dr. Julius Garvey. So I am not seeing the representative from the minister as well, and so help me well. Oh, you're here. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. And so to bring you a message from the Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, we will now have the Principal Director of Culture in that ministry, and this is Miss Joanne Archibald. Do welcome her to the microphone, please. Making us laugh with that. Madam Chair, members of the Institute of Jamaica and Liberty Hall family, Dr. Julius Garvey, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen all, very good morning to you.
Good morning.
Well, as you see, the one and only Minister Grange has not been able to make it today. If only we could split her in at least 15 pieces, we would have just enough of her. Just enough, but not even enough. So here I am, representing her today, bringing to you her greetings. She always finds it a distinct pleasure to be in the presence of Garveyites, in particular Dr. Julius Garvey, not only because he's the son of Jamaica's first national hero, but being a Pan-Africanist in his own right makes it even more special, and an occasion that the minister wouldn't miss if she had a choice, but unfortunately official duties have taken her overseas and she's not able to be with us. So it falls to me to bring the following remarks on her behalf. The minister pays homage to the lifelong mission of Dr. Garvey, who has made it his lifelong mission to promote African ancestry and keep the legacy of his father alive. Dr. Garvey places much significance on education, more specifically, the education of Black people. In fact, in his own words, education is not simply memorization. You have to compare, contrast, and above all, you need critical thinking to analyze. That's the only way you're going to develop the kind of intelligence and character that is required to be a good citizen in a true democracy. One way in which he is sought to push education for Black people is through the Marcus Garvey in Schools Foundation. We're going to refer to it as the MGISF here on out, okay? And of course, Dr. Garvey is the director of the MGISF, which began 2 years ago with the intent to imbue the children of Jamaica with the principles and philosophies of the right excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey. The principles integrated into the curriculum focus on civics, pride, entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and self-employment. This initiative is quite commendable and very necessary in present-day Jamaica. There has long been a call for the teaching of Garvey in schools, and this response is very important in shaping young Jamaicans to become not only good citizens, but also proud Jamaicans with a purpose. It's no coincidence that today's event is happening here at Liberty Hall. When it was first built in 1923, its original purpose was to be a shrine of Negro inspiration and the cradle of Negro liberation. Many decades have passed, and Liberty Hall continues to be a beacon for Garveyites, historians, scholars, inside and outside academia, members of the surrounding communities, Jamaicans and visitors from all over the world. Therefore, it shouldn't be a surprise that Dr. Garvey is no stranger to Liberty Hall. Just look at the wall dedicated to donors to Liberty Hall, and you will see his name prominently displayed there. He has not only contributed financially, but has often given up his time to educate about his father and philosophy. as well as made donations to the museum collection. He was the guest speaker for the 2013 staging of the annual Mosiah Garvey lecture, where he challenged the audience to liberate their minds so as to fulfill their purpose of being human, as this is what Marcus Garvey would have expected. The last time Dr. Garvey and the minister were here together in January 2017, he was making a special presentation of his father's insignia of the Order of National Hero, and his mother's Bible to the Mosiah Garvey Multimedia Museum. We are grateful that Dr. Garvey took time out of his very busy schedule to come here this morning to inspire the young and the young at heart. Even more grateful that we are invited to participate in such a momentous occasion. We're looking forward to the possible collaborations among all the stakeholders present so as to ensure that Garvey's teachings will permeate the lives of our young people, thereby making them socially aware, socially conscious, and socially responsible citizens of Jamaica and members of the African diaspora. After all, the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey said, "What you do today that is worthwhile, inspire others to act at some future times." Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Ms. Joanne Archibald. I now call upon Mr. Major F.M. White, who is chairman of the Marcus Garvey Schools Foundation, to bring his greetings. Please welcome him.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Ms. Archibald, representing the Minister, Dr. Julius Garvey, our guest of honor, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and I see quite a few students here, maybe from the Marcus Garvey Technical and also from other Garvey clubs. A very pleasant good morning to you. I would like to echo, if I may, the sentiments expressed by the minister. But the question was asked earlier, what did MGISF mean, Marcus Garvey School Foundation? And I have the honor to be the chairman of that. And just to give you a little summary, 2 years ago, this initiative was commenced, and we have subsequently done the pilot project with the basic and infant schools in 22 schools across the island, 10 in the corporate area, and 12 in the other 12 parishes. Limited resources, so we could not obviously go the full way. But what we do know is that the teachers program, prior to the teachers themselves inculcating in the minds of our 5-year-olds the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey, I think it has actually worked very well. And the Early Childhood Commission, they're reviewing, or they have reviewed, the pre and the post assessment reports and all the other reports that we submitted after that exercise, and we're hoping for good days ahead where Marcus Garvey schools will be infused in the curriculum, especially the curriculum of the civics. We're presently awaiting the Ministry of Education's approval to proceed with a similar project in the primary schools at the grade 1 to 3 level. And we are also confident that this will happen, and going beyond there to the high schools and eventually to the tertiary. So we're very pleased that Marcus Garvey Schools is on its way, and we are very confident that once we are able to live and to teach our younger citizens about Marcus Garvey, it will redound to the benefit of us, the older ones, as they, of course, obviously grow older. And I thank you for coming out today. And over the past week since Dr. Garvey came, Marcus Garvey did quite a few quotes, or made quite a few quotes. And one which I personally had not really, should I say, looked at to the extent that now, since Dr. Garvey has been here, I've heard him speak of it, and I realize how important this quote is. And as I close, I'd like to make this quotation from Marcus Garvey, where he said, "God and nature first made us what we are, and then out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law," Marcus said. "Let the sky and God be our limit, and eternity our measurement." Thank you for coming out, and I wish you all a very pleasant day.
Thank you so much, Major White. And it's now my pleasure to bring Mr. Oliver Fagan, who is Chairman of the Board of Management at the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica and the Jamaican Member Band, to usher him to the microphone to bring his greetings. Would you welcome him, please?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Madam Master of Ceremonies, Ms. Joy Archibald, representing the Honorable Minister, the Chairman of Marcus Garvey in Schools Foundation, Mr. White, Mr. Leslie Harrow, Executive Director of the Institute of Jamaica, students, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to be with you today. And I want to start by especially welcoming Dr. Garvey home to Liberty Hall and to say welcome to our turf and yours. And I say that because when I had the pleasure of meeting Dr. Garvey last year, I had the honor of hosting Marcus Garvey's birthday celebrations on the 17th of August in St. Anne. And at the time, those of us who were not from St. Anne were subjected to the endless torture of being reminded that we are not born here. We are just here to participate and go home, because Marcus Garvey belongs exclusively to the people of St. Anne. And I took the risk of saying, all right, he belongs to you for now, but you will have a Liberty Hall in St. Anne. At the end of the ceremony, I ensured that I left quickly. And so, less than a year later, it is my pleasure now to welcome Dr. Garvey to this very, very special place that undoubtedly has even greater meaning to him as a son of our first national day. Major White, you just shared with us a quotation from Marcus Garvey, one of very many. And in looking briefly at his life, you wonder what would have occurred had he lived beyond the age of 52 years, when you consider the range and breadth of his achievements and his continuing impact on the world. And in one sense, it is particularly tragic, because when I had a look at the demographic statistics of the time, the average life expectancy of a man in England in 1940 was actually 60.8 years. And I wonder seriously what the world would look like today if Marcus Garvey had the benefit of those 7+ years for himself. But be that as it may, it is my great pleasure to be here, to serve as chairman, to see you all here. And it gives us the assurance that the legacy of Marcus Garvey is secure, though we have much more to do. And so let me officially welcome you, thank you, and to assure you of the commitment of Liberty Hall that we will do all we can to increase the presence of Marcus Garvey in Jamaica. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan. I now invite Mr. Leslie Harrow, Executive Director at the Institute of Jamaica, to bring his greetings.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Thank you very much, Mrs. Morgan Dingley, Dr. Julius Garvey, Mr. Archibald, Mr. Oliver Fagan, Chairman, Major White, distinguished guests, members of the ACIJ, GMB, management and staff, the director here, Director Dr. Henry, staff of the Institute of Jamaica, and we are representing the Music Museum, our curators, Mr. Miller. We want to especially welcome our students who have turned out to this event. It is very important that our students continue to be a part of the development of Jamaica, because we have a responsibility as adults to ensure that they are nurtured. And Mosiah Garvey would be so happy with us engaging our students. And so the Institute of Jamaica continues to fulfill its mandate as a guardian of protecting and preserving Jamaica's tangible and intangible experiences for posterity. Our focus is to ensure that we as an institution identify, document, safeguard, and promote our history that institutionalize the fabric of our existence as a people. The shared knowledge and teaching of the right excellence, Mosiah Garvey's work, is at the forefront of our history. It is therefore fitting that Liberty Hall, where we are now, as an affiliate of the Institute of Jamaica, continues to highlight the work of this great icon in his unparalleled history to nation builders. We are guided by the words of our visionary minister, the Honorable Olivia Grange, who posited recently that as we celebrate our Diamond Jubilee, we are reigniting a nation for greatness and for children of icons. We are creating a pathway to greatness as they stand on the shoulders of those who paved the way. As we celebrate Reggae Month, we cannot ignore our potential for greatness. We are therefore reminded of the words of the great man, Marcus Garvey, who said, "We must liberate the minds of men, and ultimately, you will liberate the bodies of men." We are going to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery, for though others may free the body, none but ourselves can free our mind. Adopted by another legendary Robert Nesta Marley in his Redemption song. As we reminisce on these scholarly thoughts, let us seek to inspire our brothers and sisters by promoting Jamaica's achievements in the world. And therefore, as son of this icon, Dr. Julius Garvey, we greet you well and welcome you back to Jamaica. Thank you.
Okay, folks, so we know that with all of the official greetings and all that, us Jamaicans love a little entertainment, right? Right? Yes, we do. And so let's just prepare ourselves for what I know will be an absolutely awesome item by Miss Ngozi Wright and friends.
Tucker, please.
Sing a song for Marcus. For Marcus we sing a song. We stood for a people did him wrong. Starliner, how black are thy ships? I'm waiting by the harbor, still waiting for my trip.
Africa we want to go.
Introduction of Dr. Julius Garvey. Ladies and gents.
Dr. the Honorable Julius Garvey, Order of Jamaica. Ms. Joanne Archibald, Principal Director of Culture in the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, here representing Minister Grange this morning. Mr. Oliver Fagan, Chairman of the Board of Management of the African Caribbean Institute of Jamaica, Jamaica Memory Bank, that has responsibility for Liberty Hall, the legacy of Marcus Garvey. Mr. Leslie Harrow, Executive Director of the Institute of Jamaica. Major F. Young White, chairman of the Marcus Garvey Schools Foundation, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning. Dr. the Honorable Julius Winston Garvey, Order of Jamaica, retired cardiothoracic and vascular surgeon, medical professor, Pan-Africanist, and human rights activist, is the younger son of the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey and his wife, Amy Jakes Garvey. Born on August 16th, I will tell you the year. Let's just say this year will be a milestone year. Dr. Garvey spent most of his formative years in Jamaica. A proud graduate of Woolman's Trust High School for Boys, he went on to earn a bachelor's degree from McGill University in Canada. He continued his studies to eventually earn his Doctor of Medicine, MD, and his Mastery of Surgery, CM, from McGill University Faculty of Medicine. As a specialist in the field of thoracic and vascular diseases, Dr. Garvey has taught at universities and given lectures worldwide on the topics. In addition, he has published several articles on thoracic and vascular diseases, which have appeared in many peer-reviewed journals. Having grown up hearing of his father's philosophies and accomplishments, Dr. Garvey developed an interest in Africa, which has led to his encouraging Africans in the diaspora over the years to unite and help each other to improve their social and political conditions. He also travels extensively around the world, giving lectures on African history and culture, as well as on the life and legacy of his father, so that people will not only get a better understanding of his father's mission, but also use his father's teachings to empower blacks. Dr. Garvey was a founding member and chairman of the Marcus Garvey Committee International, Inc., which served to improve the economic, cultural, educational, and spiritual conditions of Africans. He has also served on several boards, including the Board of Education of People of African Ancestry, the Zumbi Foundation, the Brotherhood, the Read Across Jamaica Foundation, and the International Network on Appropriate Technology. He's also a fellow of the African Scientific Institute. Dr. Garvey has had an avid interest in the education of Jamaican youth over the years, which has seen him working with various organizations to improve the curriculum in schools, particularly to include the teaching of Garvey, as well as to build and renovate schools and community centers to facilitate learning. Currently, he serves as a director for the Marcus Garvey Schools Foundation, which intends to inspire the children of Jamaica with the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. Dr. Garvey has accomplished a lot throughout his life, including renovating Kwame Nkrumah's mausoleum in Ghana, a feat that earned him the title Nana Kwesi III of Safo, and facilitating the planting of 50,000 trees in northern Ghana. He was even named Goodwill Ambassador to Senegal by the then President Abdoulaye Wade. What could be one of his greatest accomplishments, if he is successful, is having his father exonerated of the unfounded charges that caused him to be imprisoned in the United States for approximately 2 years. Dr. Garvey has made several attempts to have this done and tirelessly continues to lead this effort. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please stand and help me welcome to the lecture the distinguished Dr. the Honorable Julius Winston Garvey, Order of Jamaica.
So that's extensive, wonderful introduction. You know, Major White was sitting next to me and he said, "Is that you?" I'm not sure it's me. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And Madam Chair, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Africans, it's indeed a pleasure to be here, and it's indeed a pleasure to see so many young faces here. Education, and this was what Marcus Garvey was all about. The re-education, if you will, of African people. Because with our kidnapping from Africa and enslavement and colonization, we had become miseducated by people who enslaved us and wanted to keep us in a subservient condition to their interests over time, over more than 400 years. So Marcus Garvey said that he was bringing a revolution, and the revolution was the revolution of the mind. And we've heard several quotes. Of course, the most famous one perhaps is that we must liberate our minds from mental slavery, because none but ourselves can do that. And I think it's also important that he centered us on our Africanness, and he said that a people without the knowledge of their past history, traditions, and culture, like a tree without roots. And of course, a tree without roots withers and dies. So we must first of all recognize who we are in terms of being African, being from the continent of Africa, and being the first people in the universe, first human beings, 200,000 years ago, creating the first civilization, more than 10,000 years ago, and understanding what that means to us in terms of who we are at the present time. He says that, you know, the black skin is not a badge of shame, but it is a symbol of our greatness. And that encapsulates all of that knowledge that we need to have. And those of us who haven't need to impart it to the younger people in terms of our true history over time, which precedes everybody else's history. You know, I mentioned that human beings first saw the light of day 200,000 years ago. There was nothing but Africans in existence until maybe 20,000 years ago. They found the first Europeans who could be called Europeans. So we had migrated to Europe and then got trapped in the Ice Age. And then over time, there were Europeans. And same thing with people from the East. They didn't find any of those before, you know, again, the same thing 15 or 20,000 years ago. So we have a head start on everybody else. Our history is the longest and the greatest. And we have created just about everything that there is to create in terms of what is humanly possible. And I think Major is leaving because he stole my quotation. And it's my favorite quotation. I think it centers us again in terms of who we are as a people. That God and nature first made us who we are, and then out of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. Follow always that great law, and let God in the sky be our limit, and eternity our measurement. And that's a whole African cosmology wrapped up in those few sentences. And that's the extent of God's teaching, telling us who we are. God and nature first made us what we are. That means we made in the image of God. and we are made one with nature. Then he says, of our own creative genius, we make ourselves what we want to be. So we have that creative genius in us, which is a gift from God. That's how we are made in the image of God. God is the creator, but we then are co-creators in terms of our universe, in terms of our society, our community, our nation, and the world in which we live. Follow always that great law, and there's no limit. Sky, God, there's no measurement, eternity. So again, we are one with eternity. But that means also that there's no such thing as death. For us, there's birth and there's death, but life continues. We are life. We are the creation of life, and we are co-creators in life. So there's also reincarnation. That's why we believe in the ancestors. That's why we believe in spirits. That's why we teach the young, because we live on in the next generation. And he said that he was bringing a revolution of the mind. He told us that mind creates, and as much as we want in nature, we can achieve by creativity of our minds. He said there's no limit to which we cannot climb by using the active intelligence of our minds. There's no, so our future is unlimited. And then he went on to say that man is the individual who can create his own life, master his will, and determine his future. Now think about that. It's up to you in terms of responsibility, that you can so master your will and use your creative mind that you can accomplish whatever it is you will. And you know, encapsulated that of human people, you can accomplish what you will. And we can do that together. Because he also said that the things that you accomplish for yourself, selfishly, will take you no further than yourself as an individual. Things that you accomplish in concert with others will take you even into eternity. So again, we are one with eternity, and we do not need to be afraid or to be anxious about obstacles, because again, with the continuity of life, we do not need to fear death. The physical body is born, the physical body dies, but life continues. Life is a continuity from one generation to the next, and that's why we're linked with the ancestors, and that's why we're linked with future generations. And therefore, our thinking always has to be relative to the oneness of us as a people, because there is one universe, there's really one people, and one people are linked to the one universe. And that's a principle, again, that goes back to Egypt or Kemet, the first Nile civilizations, and that principle is called Ma'at, which is the principle of creation, and it was created in terms of diversity, or the unity and diversity. The creative principle is order, and it is harmony, and it is justice, and it is righteousness, and it is love. And when you can interact with that creative spirit, which is in you, then you can produce a society where people have positive relationships with each other, care about each other, and work, not just for themselves, but for the benefit of everybody in community. And of course, that's a very African principle. We believe in the family, we believe in the community, we believe in the tribe, the nation. There's always a collective. It's mirrored in the principles of Quadra, collective work and responsibility, the Jima, for the economics of Jama. Those are basic African principles, those are basic Garvey principles, and then African representing the culture and traditions of our people over time. And again, in the song of those young people, if you have no confidence in self, you're twice defeated in the race of life. But with confidence, you're won even before you start. And why is that? Because if you have confidence, if you have knowledge of self, which what you're being said, is bringing the revolution of the mind. So you have to look into your mind, you have to understand your mind. Through understanding your mind, you get to understand yourself. You get to understand yourself as being made in the image of God. When you're made in the image of God, you can create yourself in terms of the potential that God has given you. You can create yourself to be what it is that you want to be, functioning in society, in harmony, and with order, and with righteousness, and with justice for everybody in a society that puts human beings first, and I call that African humanism. And this is what the world needs at the present time. You cannot create peace by going to war. All you do is create destruction. And we see that the society in which we live, the dominant society, Euro-American society, is simply replicating war after war after war, not achieving peace. But it's also crumbling. So there's space for us then to be truly ourselves as African human beings, with the understandings that I've just mentioned, that we're really spiritual beings.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garvey. Okay, so we're now opening the floor for question and answer. If you would like to address any questions to, yes? Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry, it's Q&A. You want me to come up there, or are you going to bring a mic?
Well, I'm going to ask him to come. I'm going to ask him to come. Or, let me find out first, who are you addressing the question to? Dr. Garvey?
And then we come back.
Yes.
Yes, sir. I'm presently in Ola. I heard the news that you was going to have here. And this town needs happening. My speech is also wonderful because of ailment. So please see me. That's 3 basic questions to ask.
3. Oh, is it another 3 questions or anything?
Well, one at a time.
Yes, well, I'm going to ask as a son to a father, this Jamaica which we live. Where is the black man empire?
Could you repeat that?
Where is the black man empire?
Where is the black man's empire?
That's a question in and of itself.
That is one of the questions.
Well, why don't you give us the 3 questions, then I'll deal with it.
Okay, yes.
Go ahead.
Go ahead with the other two.
Here is the leadership status. Here is Marcus Garvey, university campus. And the last one is, where the foundational school from kindergarten to university. Where are they?
Okay, I think we can start with the last one, because we heard Major F.M. White talking about Marcus Garvey schools, and I'm a part of that effort, and there's several people here. Dr. Wright is a part of that effort, so we're trying to get Ministry of Education to approve the concept of teaching Marcus Garvey in schools, from certainly the 5-year-olds all the way up through university. So that effort is underway. But where is the African Empire? The African Empire is anywhere that African people are. Part of the African Empire is here in Jamaica. It's in the Caribbean. It's in North America, South America, and of course on the continent of Africa itself. Unfortunately, we are divided in terms of the African continent. There are 54 or 55 nation states with 5 regions and an African Union that is not yet a federal entity, but it's on its way. As you know, Marcus Garvey talked about the United States of Africa, way back in 1927. So that's still something that has to be accomplished. We have carried home 15 Caribbean nations. Hopefully that will be part of the 6th region of Africa. Again, that's something on the drawing boards. And many of these things, of course, are difficult to achieve and are in process. But people are working on that. What was the second part of the question? Answer the third part or the first part. I don't remember the second part.
The second part you asked about, yes, the second question.
Okay. Leadership.
Oh, where's the leadership?
Yes.
Well, you know what has happened with leadership. For example, with Marcus Garvey, you know they had a political trial with no evidence except an empty envelope, and witnesses who had perjured themselves at the instigation of the prosecuting attorney as well as the judge. So this is what they do. This is what has been done to leadership. As you know, people such as Kwame Nkrumah, there have been coups against people like Kwame Nkrumah, people like Lumumba, have been killed outright at the instigation of the CIA, at the instigation of the Belgians, at the instigation of the French. Thomas Sankara was another one. There's several coups in Africa. The history of Jamaica or not. Funds were brought down here by the CIA to destabilize the government here, which was also a socialist government. So this is what happens to our leadership. So we shouldn't be too critical in terms of leadership, because the leadership has been frustrated. We know Malcolm X was assassinated, we know Martin Luther King was assassinated, we know John F. Kennedy was assassinated. Those who want to change the world and make it a better place for people like you and I tend to disappear if they're not bought off and co-opted. Then if they can be dealt with like Marcus Garvey, imprisoned, criminalized, or then ultimately they're killed. So those are the problems of leadership. They're very real problems. And put yourself up there as a leader makes you very much a mark man if you're a true leader of the people. Because you can live in circumstances that are created and maintained for an elite group. And it goes all the way back to the feudal system in Europe, and that system has not really changed. Like all the globalization now, etc. But it's simply the same feudal system that gave you slavery, that gave you colonialism, that gives you neocolonialism, and that gives you globalization. So we still need changes and we still need leadership, but it's a difficult position. And I nominate you, sir, to be the next leader of us. Any other questions?
Okay, so we really only have 10 minutes, so can we, this gentleman I think was next? Yes.
Okay. How or why did the UNIA allow the Jamaican government to take this building over?
Sorry, why is the UNIA government
allow the Jamaican government to take this building from them?
To take this building from them?
Yeah.
I don't know how to answer that because I'm not really here. I don't know the details of that.
Nobody
so
knows.
we need to ask the management of Liberty Hall.
Of Liberty Hall, okay. I think 1 second. I think one of these, yes, young man in the red shirt. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Morning. Earlier it was mentioned that because of the charges that Marcus Garvey was accused of, he was in prison for 2 years. But earlier it was mentioned that Marcus Garvey was in prison because of the charges he was falsely accused of. What are the efforts like in getting his name exonerated of these charges, and what does this mean to you as it relates to his legacy?
Well, it wasn't being all of it. So when represented us, and don't forget his representation, he had more than 6 million followers around the world. So this was a mass movement. And because it was a mass movement of African people with liberated minds, then, you cut off the head of the snake and the body died, so to speak. In terms of our efforts, the efforts began as soon as he was in prison after the trial. There was thousands and thousands of people demonstrating up and down the streets of not just New York, but in the US of A over time. We got involved in 1987, which was the centenary, and we went to Congress and made representations to the government. Congressman Rangel, Congressman John Conyers, they had bills put before the Congress to exonerate Marcus Garvey. And it has to go through a process in terms of the Congress itself. And it has been frustrated over time, but it's been reintroduced to the Congress again and again and again to exonerate Marcus Garvey. Right now there's a bill that's called House Resolution HR 148 that's in front of the Congress, again to exonerate Marcus Garvey. It was put there by Yvette Clark, who's a representative from Brooklyn. Her parents are Jamaican, she was born in the States. So over time that's gone on over and over again, but it's been frustrated and it never gets out of the committee that deals with that. We have used also another tack when we had Obama as president, and during the end of the second term, we made a petition asking him to use his powers to exonerate by virtue of a posthumous pardon, which the president can do simply on his own signature. But I should say that there was an injustice, there was no crime committed, there was a political trial, and there was no injustice. He ignored it. We didn't do anything with Trump, but we've done the same thing with Biden, and we've said, plus the fact that we did a petition, gained over 100,000 signatures last February. In 30 days, this was the stipulation that we needed 100,000 signatures. So we got in excess of 100,000 signatures sent to Biden, but he didn't respond. So we since written letters to Biden, to Kamala Harris as Vice President. So far they haven't responded. So we've gone out to the Congressional Black Caucus to increase the pressure on the president. So that's where it's at now.
Okay, this young man here, and then we will go with my president. But his wasn't answered. I mean, this question wasn't answered.
What was the question?
Oh, well, no, you asked about the government and taking over the, well,
I don't have that knowledge.
Is there anyone here who can address it?
I will find out, but in the meantime, while we have Dr. Garvey, can we just address some questions to people?
Go
ahead.
All right, good morning, everyone. Thanks again, Dr. Garvey. I think my question here is addressed not to only Dr. Garvey, but also Mr. White over here. And it's really a matter of, revolution of the mind. And one of the most important points you raised was the matter of Africans having one of the oldest and richest history, of course, right? No, I think my question is built on the Marcus Garvey School Foundation and the role that they play in terms of communicating that rich tradition in the schools, and not only at a university level, but at an earlier stage. That rich African history, religion, education, all of these traditions that we had. Because I always tell my students that, African history didn't start at colonization or slavery. So how do we communicate that? Or what role does the foundation have in communicating that tradition in these schools at an early age?
Major.
Okay. Yes.
Very good question. I did in fact say that the program Marcus Garvey Schools commenced about 2 years ago, and we had a pilot program with 22 5-year-old or basic/infant schools. This was all with the approval of the Early Childhood Commission. We submitted to them lesson plans, a PowerPoint presentation, and an executive summary as to what our desire and intention was. So we got the go-ahead. We actually approached these schools on our own to see if they would be a part of the program. And so we had everything all laid out, database and everything, because if you don't do it properly, if you don't do the right things, right, it will not get anywhere. So you got to start these young ones. I don't want to take up much time, but I'm going to show you how important it is for the young ones. When we started this program, I was on Zoom with 12 children in the class with their aunties, their teacher. And it was not the first time that these kids were hearing this. Remember, you know, every October, there is a big furor about Heritage Month. But what we're doing is teaching Marcus Garvey in schools throughout the year, right? So we had this program, and the following day, I went to the school. And prior to going, I got the names and a screenshot of each child. So of course, you know, when I went into the classroom, Mr. White, Mr. White, Mr. White. And I looked at this and said, good morning, Julius, how are you? Good morning, Rosie. So I was calling by their names. That resonated right away. Because Maslow said, you know, if you have some food, if you have some clothes, and you have some shelter, your next hierarchy of need is recognition, not money. You call your friend who you call sometimes, I'm not saying you, but one dog, call him one John Wayne, his real name, and see the reaction. And one little girl said, Mr. White, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure, Jordan, go ahead. That's after we had saw Maid Mary. And she said, you know, I'm so glad you came to the school today, 5 years old. She said, I'm so glad you came to the school today because I didn't see your face yesterday, you know, when you were on Zoom. You seemed like you were in your phone. And this was a beautiful example of what 5-year-old will do. I had no resort, no recourse but to say, look, Jordan, you're absolutely correct. I'm very sorry about that, but a call came in and I was looking. Told her to give the white line. But I was in my phone. You know what she said? No, don't worry. That's okay. You're here today and I can see your face. 5 years old. So we're going from the 5-year-olds to primary school, but we're going to do the grades 1 to 3. That's 6, 7, and 8-year-old kids. Because remember we had COVID, children are not reading. So we have to get our minds, Marcus Garvey said, unless we have the knowledge, we can't go forward. So from the primary school, we go to the high school and then the tertiary. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and then the element about African tradition. Not only just early education, but African tradition specifically.
No, but everything is going to be taught at the different levels in the curriculum. It's being infused, you know. We do not have a standalone program. It is being infused in the civics, etc. Because there are many people, most of our people disregard Marcus Garvey, you know.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes, my brethren.
Marcus Garvey said, look, please don't come in on the black thing. I said, that's it, all right? So to make anything a crisis, you know, people that don't just the 240. Marcus Garvey party was the first party. What are you doing now to eliminate I and I? We can't turn nowhere but to Marcus Garvey right now. His teachment, everything gone, but him. So what the institute is doing, so what we? But we need a leader now. We don't have nobody. But Marcus Garvey is over. So we don't see the institute are. We don't. What is it? What's going on? That's what I'm asking.
Okay.
Like God.
I understand.
Well, I'm not sure. If you
I'm at the present.
One second, sir. 1 second. Let me reply.
At the present time, I'm not offering myself as
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Can we have another question from Sir, hold on. He did say at this point, he's not offering himself as a leader. But he cannot address that at this time, sir.
Marcus give us direction. Didn't that Marcus give a direction?
Yes, sir. Yes, but you must also remember that Dr. Garvey is entering a very senior point in his life, okay?
All right.
And so, can we have a question from that young man? Go ahead.
Okay, Mr. Garvey, my question is, Dr. Garvey, my question is, what was it like growing up and going through life with such an influential person as a father? And were there any special or unique influences put towards him?
Great question.
Very good question.
Very good question.
Interesting, yes. You know, my father died when I was 7 years old. So basically raised by my mother, who was a mirror image of my father. So she set a very good example for me as a person. And she taught me who and what my father was about. So I learned about him from a very early age. And she inspired both myself and my brother to be the best that we could be in terms of what our own mission was. Not everybody is a leader, sir. Different people have different things to do in life. I've been a doctor, a surgeon, serving my people for more than 50 years.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fagan. We now have a presentation of Dr. Garvey's book to the Garvey Research Reference Library. And we will ask, is it Ms. Fairweather Sims who will accept? Dr. Garvey, could you make this presentation, please?
This is a compilation of the teachings of my father in Philosophy and Opinions, Volume 1 and 2. I've excerpted them, and of course they were initially compiled by my mother, Amy J. Garvey, out of the speeches and writings of Marcus Garvey. And I've updated, shall we say, for the 21st century. And it's indeed my honor to give this to Liberty Hall to continue the work and legacy of Marcus Garvey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm very honored to accept this addition to our collection, Dr. Garvey, on behalf of the Board of Management and the staff of Liberty Hall.
Thank you so much. May we have Ms. Faith Anderson, who is the research officer here at Liberty Hall, to make her acknowledgements, please.
Dr. the Honorable Julius Garvey, Ms. Joan Archibald, Principal Director for the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport. Major F.M. White, Chairman, Marcus Garvey Schools Foundation. Mr. Oliver Fagan, Chairman of the Board of Management, ACIJ, JMB. Mr. Leslie Harrow, Executive Director, IOJ. Other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, good morning.
Good morning.
Today's event would not have been possible without the hard work of several individuals. In a short period, they were able to plan and execute what was necessary to make this a reality. First, thanks to Dr. the Honorable Julius Garvey for making Liberty Hall one of his stops during this very tight schedule. We are always grateful to have you visit us at Liberty Hall, as you are like family to us. Thanks to the Marcus Garvey Schools Foundation, headed by Major F.M. White, for facilitating Dr. Julius Garvey's visit and including us on his itinerary. We look forward to many future collaborations with you. Thanks to Ms. Joan Archibald for representing Minister Grange. You filled in seamlessly, and we're grateful that you could attend. Thank you to our chairman, Mr. Fagan, and our executive director, Mr. Harrow, bringing greetings. Thanks to Ngozi and friends for their riveting performance. Thanks to the staff of Liberty Hall and the IOJ family for their hard work and all the work they put in to plan this event, which we can all agree was a successful one. Finally, thanks to you, the audience, for taking time out to join us today. Thank you.
Folks, it was indeed a bucket list moment to have had this opportunity to act as MC at this event on this the 23rd of February, in the middle of, winding up Black History Month. And I just urge you all to continue on our mission to share the philosophy and opinions of Marcus Garvey. All right? So people, Garveyites, friends, one God, one aim, one destiny. We invite you to partake of a refreshment and meet and greet on the outside. Okay, thank you so much.
Ooh, la, 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 la. Shakur, Prendergast Entertainment. Hey. System for equal rights. Sometime in life mess up, and no matter how hard them I fight, tell them say me nah give up. Yeah, tribulations we face in a life, me just a hold it and I go and live up. Hey. What them do to Jesus Christ, mankind too dangerous. And fighting the struggles all angles, feels like a spiritual strangle. While me lost in Bermuda Triangle, like the wind and the candle. So rough, why life so tough? But me still I hold the faith and I praise me God, me not give up. Why life so rough, so rough, so rough? Why life so tough? Up the ladder me a climb, me want me broke my spine, me nah give up. Hey, hear me now. Tell them say no stray from the flock now. Sufferation for stop now. Politicians for change up them act now. Full-time poor people start reap from the crop now. I no fear no foes or no pestilence. Father God, them are my confidence. Jah as my witness, I'm his evidence. It was written from in his Old and New Testament rough. Yeah, why life so tough? Yeah, but me still I hold the faith and I praise me God, me not give up. Why life so rough? Why life so tough? Up the ladder me I climb, them want me broke my spine, me not give up. Watch out now. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, don't you ever give up. You got to keep on going. When the going gets tough and the tough gets going, yeah, you gotta still make a step and keep the water below your neck. Ooh, la, 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 la. Life's so rough, yeah. So rough, yeah. Ooh, la, 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 la. Yeah. Shakur, Prendergast Entertainment. Yeah. System for equal rights. It's so messed up. Right, Sean? And no matter how hard them all a fight. Some must me not give up. Don't win so tips.